All right, welcome back to another episode of Classic Conversations. Sort of a late night one because as we speak, I'm recording this at 10 o'clock my time, but my guest today on the show is recording about 9 o'clock. Is that right, Nick?
Yes, sir. That is absolutely correct. 9 o'clock in Chi-Town.
All right. Now, yeah. So as he said, he is one third of Dirt Sheet Radio. I just interviewed the other co-host Jonathan this week, and hope to get Greg sometime. But
Yeah, they only have the hat trick, the trifecta there.
yeah, man. So we're gonna get into a bunch of stuff. We're gonna talk professional wrestling. We're gonna talk just life in general, man. Welcome Nick LaRocco to the show. What's going on, Nick?
Oh, it's going great, man. It's a pleasure to be on here, and I thank you for the opportunity.
All right, man. Cool. The pleasure is all mine, man. So before we get into all that good stuff, take us back a little bit. What was growing up like for you?
Growing up for me was, not the most interesting of things. I grew up in kind of not the best of towns. It's very shady, gang activity and whatnot. It's Streamwood, Illinois, but I had a pretty decent childhood growing up and lifelong wrestling fan through and through. I mean, if you're in my family, like you are guaranteed to be a wrestling fan. And that was one of the biggest things for me growing up. And as time went on, I just continued to be a huge wrestling fan. And that always helped get me through so many different things.
Nice. So what are your earliest memories of pro wrestling?
Oh gosh, we're talking as early as I can remember watching like WCW Nitro with my mom, my brother, my grandpa, my grandma. Because I mean, growing up, we were always the WCW addicts. That's probably why we're such big AEW fans now.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So one thing I like to ask people, this pandemic has been really crazy on all of us. So how have you been coping with the pandemic?
Oh yeah, man. It's been crazy. I mean, I'd say just like most people, like last year, 2020 has been probably one of my worst years in terms of mental health, in terms of all kinds of other things. But I think that also gave me the opportunity to just kind of take a step back, look at everything that's been going on in my life, and realize, there's all kinds of other things that are going on in the world, and we don't really have to let this pandemic make us feel bad and make us feel confined. So I think being able to find an outreach somewhere, for me, that was always like wrestling groups and like Dirt Sheet. And I think getting involved with those types of elements really helped me cope personally with everything that was going on with the pandemic. But aside from that, I've always been a big germaphobe. So you'll always see me, masking up. I'll always have my hand sanitizer in my pocket because I was hand sanitizing before it was cool. I'd always be doing that.
All right. So, I forgot to clarify this at the beginning, but for those of you who are going to watch this, man, Nick and I have never actually met in person, which one day we're going to have to change that, of course. But
Mm-hmm.
we are in a group. We were admins of a group called We Love Pro Wrestling. I was talking with another admin of ours, Jonathan, earlier this week, and he said it was. We Love Pro Wrestling is like a home for him. So, how do you feel about the group in general, and how did you find out about it?
Oh wow, we're really going back on this one. Yeah, I watched the interview that you guys did actually, and I was bringing back memories because that was around the time that I also became an admin. Because I think John and I were like the only two that really came in from that Facebook page back when that was like the big way of testing out the new admins before they became the ones that were doing regular admin shit in the main group. But going back like 2010, like around the time it was WrestleMania 26 was the big event going on, and um, I at the time I didn't really have a whole lot of people in my life that were like big wrestling fans. The ones that I did have kind of fell out of liking wrestling, and a lot of the people that where my friends are just not watching it, or a lot of family just wanted to watch like past wrestling things, and I can't blame them. But for me personally, I was able to really find a solace online by talking to people in the online wrestling community about, what was going on with WrestleMania. And then that was when I first started to dive onto Facebook, because everyone else from school was getting on Facebook, so I had to join in. But like I said, no one really liked wrestling in the same way that I did, so that's when I had to go into all these different Facebook groups. And one of the ones I joined way back when was the No DQ Facebook group, which that itself turned into the big nightmare.
That is the,
you
that
know
is the shit.
and I was kind of sticking around there. Yeah, so the shitstorm that it was, but I think it was actually Jamie that went into the group and was kind of saying, hey, if you guys want to talk somewhere with less trolls, there's this place called We Love Pro Wrestling. And I thought, oh wow, that's cool. So I joined in there, and that was back in the era too, when there were some admins that were kind of questionable that were involved, that were always starting stuff with a lot of the members, and then when you'd fight back, they'd ban you.
All right,
But
we're not gonna name names, but I know exactly who you're talking about, because I was in there on the early days too, so I know exactly what you're getting at. But the group has evolved into the place to be over there, man. I think we're the largest pro wrestling page on Facebook. No?
Oh, I definitely say so when it comes to like Facebook groups and whatnot. And without a doubt, like we're probably one of the biggest Facebook groups in general. But that was the thing. When I was in there was, dealing with them, and just like, oh, great, is this more thing? But then that's when Dennis came in and just kind of cleaned house from a lot of those, bad admins and whatnot. And then fast forward another little bit, I'd say around like end of 2013, as early as maybe like January of 2014. That's when Dennis gave me my opportunity on the page. That's where I met Jonathan, and that's where I was promoted onwards, and I made some most definitely lifelong friends in Wheel of Pro Wrestling, man. And you're for sure one of them.
Oh, most definitely, man. You same here. Yeah. So, okay. Let's get into let's get into like I know you're a big gamer, right?
Oh yeah.
All right. So, what are you playing now? What's in your video game system now?
Oh gosh, I just did some games recently with the Halo Infinite beta that's coming out, because I'm a huge Halo fan. As long as I've been a wrestling fan, I've also been a lifelong Halo fan as well. So those are the two biggest things to me. And also in preparation for Halo Infinite's launch in 2 months, I've been playing through the original Halo trilogy, and so that's three of my all-time favorite games right there. They're always going to be in my top 5 for sure. But aside from that, I've also been dabbling a lot in like League of Legends lately. So I've just got into, despite the toxicity and despite the level of hate I get in there, I finally made it to silver.
League of Legends, man. Oh man, you're bringing it back. That's a
Yeah.
throwback. Uh, I'm not a big fan of MMORPGs, but hey, I've had a lot of friends that play that, so hey, more power to you. I am a big fan of Halo though. Like, I'm not an Xbox guy, but if I was an Xbox guy, I would have to choose Halo as my go-to franchise, man. That's an iconic franchise.
Oh yeah, I mean, without a doubt, even people that don't care for Halo and are always Team Call of Duty or whatever. I mean, unanimously across the board, everyone is able to look at Halo and see it as being the revolutionary shooter that it was. Because I mean, when you think about it, like first-person shooters at the time were really just based in the realm of point here, click there, boom, you killed everyone. But then Halo comes in, and now we got all kinds of like 360 degrees. You can move on all kinds of axes, X, Y, Z. You're able to go and do all kinds of different combat forms and stuff. Like, it's always been just such a amazing game to me. And that second level where you step onto that Halo ring, that's when I just fell in love with it, and that's always been one of my all-time favorite things.
Yeah, man. So I know you're a big music guy too, as am I. So what are you listening to right now?
Ooh. I'm not listening to like a lot of like current stuff pretty much. Usually I'll always have my go-to. I'm the biggest Queen fan ever. I'll always listen to Queen. That's always on my workout mix. Aside from that, my workout mix is traditionally composed of just rock and rap. So I'll hear like Eminem 1 second, and the next I'll jump to Slipknot, and let's let the record show that those are both two different individuals that hate MGK.
Yeah, hey, Yeah, let's not. That could be a whole nother discussion on its own. But yeah. Um. So okay, let's. Oh man. So how's life, man? Just this is my time to catch up with people. This is one of the reasons why I've been doing this series. So just to kind of catch up with people, people that I don't get to see or haven't seen in a while. So how's life, man? Let's just shoot the shit.
Yeah, on my side of the spectrum, I'm still a caregiver for my grandma, so I've been taking care of her a lot, and that itself comes with its own set of challenges. Uh, she herself is blind, has early dementia, can't really move around all too well without the use of a wheelchair. So I've been helping her a lot with that. But she's an amazing person. I love spending time with her. My mom has also been a tremendous help on there. I've just been kind of taking it easy as much as I can. Like we talked about earlier, the pandemic's been absolutely crazy. So it's been hard to see friends and family all too often. Um, but I love spending time with the friends and family that I am able to see all the time. I'd give all kinds of shout outs to everyone, but to everyone in my household and everyone that I talk to consistently, my boys, my girl, uh, most definitely, a lot of my family, my brother Tony and his cold case project, been trying to keep up with that a lot. Um, trying to keep up with my nieces and nephews. So there's a lot going on family wise, but yeah, man, it's just kind of trying to take it easy. Anytime I ever feel like things might not be going the best, I'll always just take a step back. I'll try and lift some weights, work out, and if I don't do that, I'll just go and creative write, because that's always been something I've been interested in. And I'll admit something insanely nerdy, as we just talked about Halo. I love writing like Halo based stories and creating like original like Halo characters and whatnot. I got into D&D recently, so playing Dungeons and Dragons this year has been a great escape for a lot of stuff.
That's awesome, man. And you pretty much answered my next one. So I was gonna say which besides wrestling and gaming, do you have any other hobbies? But you already answered that. So well, yeah, like I said, this is very loosely formatted. So all right. All right. So if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
I think, gosh, there's quite a few things I would like to tell young Nick. uh,
Damn all, man.
most,
Cool.
I
So
mean, most definitely, I know I'd always tell young Nick to, hey, man, no matter how you're feeling, bad times don't last forever. And, always just keep pushing forwards, because, as bad as you think things are, things do end up getting better in the end, and stuff does have a way of working out. Most definitely, I'd also tell young Nick that just keep working on social media, keep talking good stuff about wrestling, and maybe you'll get an adminship on We Love Pro Wrestling and be a part of Dirt Sheet Radio.
all right. So yeah, let's talk about Dirt Sheet Radio a little bit, because
Mhm.
I know you're kind of like a recent co-host, right? They
Yeah, Jonathan and I, we were talking about the podcast like as far back as I remember him wanting to do things. This was like a couple of years ago. Um, but really the opportunity, it just never worked out for me personally, because like I said, I'm a caregiver, and then having to do like full-time college and all kinds of other stuff. I never really had the time to do a lot of things. But then once I graduated college, I was able to catch up with John, and we were talking about stuff. And I know at the time Greg was going on a little vacation or a break or something and like that, and he had an open spot in there, and he asked, hey, it's the Royal Rumble episode, and Royal Rumble is just one of the best pay-per-views ever, because you never know what's going to happen, so it's always fun to talk about. So I'm just like, hell yeah, man, I'll get in there, I'll talk with you. And then I knew deep down, this was fun and I wanted to do it a lot, so I wanted to make sure I killed that opportunity. And hey, it worked, because then he brought me back the next week, and then I stuck around, and they haven't been able to get rid of me yet.
Yeah, look at you guys now, man. Fucking 50,000 likes on the page, and the podcast itself is blowing up. So congratulations to every one of you, for giving a decent giving a hell of a podcast to talk about wrestling, and you guys deserve that platform, man. So
Oh, thank you so much for that, my bro.
uh
I definitely got to get you on the podcast too, man.
yeah. Jonathan and I were talking about that. He's like, hey, can you record it? can you record it like 12:30 at night? And I'm like, yeah, sure, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, for those that don't know, we record very late on Mondays, like into the early part of Tuesday morning.
Yeah, hey, listen, any chance I get to talk about professional wrestling with sensible people, because nonsensical and
Oh yeah.
toxic this community can be sometimes. So
Dude, you and I have seen that for so many years.
serious. So yeah, anytime I get to talk professional wrestling with just my friends, man,
Mhm.
hey, I'm all for it.
That's one of the biggest things is, just being able to sit back and talk wrestling with the boys. And I think that's definitely one of the reasons why Dirt Sheet Radio is really taken off, is just because we're all a bunch of just casual fans that just want to hang out, talk wrestling, and just let it be.
Yeah, no, and it's cool for me personally. It's cool because like I've been on both sides of the coin. I've been a fan, and I've also been in there. So it's kind of cool to just be a fan again for a minute and not have to break down, not have to look at wrestling from a wrestler's perspective, if that
Yeah.
makes any sense.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, so what do you call it? Let's this is a new kind of segment that I implemented, and I didn't tell you about this because I didn't want
Ooh.
you to. I didn't want you to be all prepared for it and shit. I like to
I
put
love it. I
my
love it.
guest
I'm
on the
ready.
spot.
I'm
So
ready for this. Let's do it. Yeah.
yeah. All right. So this is a segment that I like to call Ask the Host, which my guest gets to ask me one question. I take a backseat for a while and I answer your question or questions if you have any for me. So go ahead if you do.
Okay, Mr. Isaiah. I'd say the question I want to ask you is, what would you do differently for making just wrestling in general better?
Um, how would I make wrestling better? Are you talking from a booking perspective, or are you talking?
Any kind of perspective, because most definitely we're not at that like boom period yet. No, as wrestling fans, we're experiencing a lot of like great aspects with all kinds of competition with WWE and AEW and all the other major promotions throughout the world becoming involved, and especially the US wrestling scene. But what would you do in particular to create another big wrestling boom?
Um, as crazy as this sounds, man, I like to make, if I were like booking a show for AEW or WWE, fan interaction. Not the fixed interaction with like those fake polls that WWE used to do, those
Yeah,
big
yeah.
polls. I'm talking like legit interaction, like I mean fan interaction, like for example, letting the fans pick maybe a match or two, or who gets to participate in the match or two, or like, of course I would determine the outcome, but just having the fans do a little fantasy booking.
Hmm. I think that's always great. Being able to have that fan voice and that fan interaction is always just
Yeah, I
absolutely
mean,
incredible.
because at the end of the day, man, wrestling is the easy part, but the fans are what make it, man. If there's no fans, a lot of what a lot of what we do is fan based. I mean, the energy of the fans, helps propel us through matches, and
Yeah.
it's crazy. So, and I've always went with a philosophy: if I'm not gonna watch it as a fan, I wouldn't want to put it out there as a promoter. That's my philosophy.
Yeah.
And
Fans always come first at the end of the day. I mean, they're the ones that are paying money for your tickets. They're the ones that buy merchandise and everything. They're the ones that
absolutely,
cheer for your product.
absolutely no. And I hate when promoters try to tell the fans what to do. Like
Hmm.
they can cheer, they can boo whoever they want. Like they paid, like you just said, they paid their hard-earned money to see us do what we do, and like
Yeah.
it's like they're being force fed stuff that they're not that they don't necessarily want. And I know if you've seen
Mhm.
that over the years with the whole Roman Reigns babyface push, and now yeah, now they finally
Yeah.
listened and turned him heel, which is great. He's on the best run of his career, in my opinion.
Oh, exactly. I mean, look at the quality of work that he's given out in such a short amount of time.
Exactly. And this is how it always should have been.
Yep, most definitely, man.
I mean, when you broke up the Shield, this is what you should have did. But anyway, that's just me. But yeah, that's just my opinion and perspective on what I would do to make wrestling better.
All right,
Sorry for the
awesome.
long-winded answer.
No, man, that was what I was looking for. I completely agree with it. I'm definitely and totally 100% agreement, and I would, do the same, honestly.
Yeah, man. So beside Dirt Sheet Radio and everything like that, is there anything that you want to plug? Anything that you have coming up? Any projects you're working on? The floor is yours, man.
Plugging wise, for me, the biggest thing is I just want to continue to share Dirt Sheet Radio. Follow, I'm there with Jonathan and Greg and occasionally Mac and some guests, and hopefully soon Isaiah. But yeah, we do podcasts released every Tuesday morning, and we also have the actual Facebook page, Twitter page, Instagram page. Follow all of those pages. We're going to release the website soon. I did a lot of work on that with my expertise in HTML. But
I've heard.
as well, I also just want to give a shout out to, again, all my people. I want to give a shout out to everyone in my household. I want to give a shout out to the boys. I want to give a shout out to my besties. I want to give a shout out to my girls. I want to give a shout out, especially to, all the family and all friends that have supported me along this way. And I just want to give all of you a major thank you. And Isaiah, I wanted to thank you for the opportunity to be on here and talk to me.
Oh man, no, the pleasure's on mine, man. Yeah, so this has been another episode of Classic Conversations. I am Izzy, he is Nick, and we are out of time. I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.